boss wanted everything done by the book. So I did. Entire office shut down for a day. By user any effective 8,727. Work as a lab technician at a hospital in Milwaukee. Been there about 9 months. My supervisor Derek is one of those guys who panics about everything. 2 weeks ago state inspectors came through and he completely spiraled. Started implementing all these new protocols that are technically in our safety manual, but nobody actually follows because they're outdated from like 1997. Friday morning he sends this department-wide email in all caps about how we're doing everything by the book from now on, 0 shortcuts. He doesn't care if it takes longer. Anyone caught skipping steps gets written up. Thing is, our equipment sterilization protocol in the official manual requires 8 hours of UV exposure between uses. We have 6 pieces of equipment. We run maybe 40 tests a day across all of them. You see the problem? Monday morning, I start the UV cycle on the first machine I use. Derek walks by later and asks why I'm not running samples. I show him the manual, show him his email, explain the math. If we actually follow protocol, we can run maybe 3 tests total per day as a department. His face went through like 5 different emotions. Tries to say, that's not what I meant, and I'm like, but he said everything by the book, 0 shortcuts, remember. He had to call the department head. They had to get someone from compliance on the phone. Turns out that protocol was supposed to be updated in 2015 and just wasn't. Nobody noticed because nobody followed it. We shut down non-emergency testing for the entire day while they pushed through an emergency protocol update. Derek won't make eye contact with me now. My coworker Amanda bought me coffee this morning though, so that was cool. Daycare wants my office to park in our reserved spaces while they use ours too. We did. Been waiting for this one. My partner and I own a small 8-person company that shares a building with only a daycare. Our company consists almost exclusively of higher-level professionals, a couple lawyers, CPA, etc. So most have their own large office plus a couple of common areas, conference rooms, and nice kitchen. All in all, it's about 3,500 SQFT, which is obviously a lot for 8 people, but necessary for our line of work. Due to the size of the office, the lease has a parking provision which grants us exclusive rights to all 24 parking spots. This is somewhat important to the story, not our work. We only need A+ clients. Also important is the daycare's parking lot, only consisting of about 10 spots in front of the building. The parents would use our lot to drop off, as the daycare's lot would be mostly full with their staff's cars, and even some of their staff would park in our lot. I didn't mind at all. We had over a dozen empty spots each day, and it was nice to have the mostly happy children around in the morning/afternoon. Until a month ago. I started coming in a bit later at the same time as daycare drop-off. Our lot was crazy with parents/kids walking and parking, so I used their lot like they have done with us for years. First day, no issue. Second day, the manager saw me get out and gave me a piercing stare. A week later or so, I did it again and my car was towed. Not a warning or word from the manager/anyone at the daycare to me or our office. I went to the daycare to ask if they knew it was my car. It is a very distinctive old blue truck, and if some kind of mistake had been made. The manager came out and said it was not a mistake, and in a very rude, demeaning tone her exact words were along the lines of, unfortunately, we can't have the liability of non-staff and parents within our lot, and I am sure the parents don't appreciate having to walk further either, or an unknown adult like you in the lot. She looks me up and down, and I am a totally normal-looking 30-year-old male, I think at least. Don't you have some reserved spots in the back? You should really park there and let us park here. With an eye roll, she walked off. I was happy I held my tongue in front of the children, considering how fucking angry I was, knowing it was not the time for that conversation. A couple days later, I told the manager, while we were outside the office, that I wish she would have come to me before towing my car and costing me $600, asked for an apology, and said since we share the back lot and the parents take up almost all of our spots in the morning and afternoon, can I park in the front lot the occasional morning the timeline's align? She flatly said no and basically gave me the same speech she gave last time, at least not commenting on my appearance this time. I left things for a week thinking it was over. Until again, I had nowhere to park one morning. Having to wait 10 minutes for parents to filter out of our lot lest my car be towed, and who do I see but the manager getting a spot in my lot before me even. I decided to comply with the manager's wishes then and developed a plan. I contacted the building owner and said, or more accurately lied, that due to compliance reasons with the state license we're reapplying for, we need to have a gate installed with employees/guest pass access only on our parking lot. Our company would of course cover the cost. Same day approval from landlord. Installed 2 weeks later. I drove in early that first day after install. I tell you, the mayhem was well worth it. Watching from the corner window gave me a perfect view of it all. It started with daycare staff pressing all sorts of keys on the gate to try and get in, trying to park where they have for months, years even. Then their lot filled up completely. Parents started arriving. A staff member had to stand at the gate telling parents there was now no access. The parking lot was basically congested with parents double parked taking their children in. Other parents parked a quarter mile down in another lot at the park our office overlooks. I eventually went down to give the manager a nice little wave and walked back up to my office. She gave me a piercing stare that just made me grin ear to ear. I guess she sent the owner a rather angry email about parking rights to the back lot afterwards and how it's crazy one small office gets the entire thing. Apparently she did not know we had all of it. He said him and I may have to discuss the parking provision in the future, and he also did not know the lease gave the entire back lot, but it is not a big deal to him. Not sure why he let me put the gate in. Regardless, I still have 2 years left on my lease with another option to extend an additional 5. So no plans on moving anytime soon from the office or my 24 parking spots. P.S. It is an office building next to a park and residential homes. I am in no way endangering these children since they now walk through a quarter mile of grass and playground to get to daycare. There is not even a street to cross from that lot. If anything, I made the days of the employees and parents better in retrospect. Actually not sure employees can park in the playground lot for that long. Edit. Finally figured out how to edit. New around these parts. To everyone asking me why I did not tow, 2 reasons. One, most importantly, I was tired and working 12+ hour days for a few months at that point. That day she parked there was the last or second to last day of that stretch, and then I am basically forming 6 hours a day for 9 months. Towing a car was the last thing on my mind. Getting into the office and finishing my work was my only goal. Then my partner suggested it when I recounted the story. $600 can be a lot of money for some. I grew up fairly poor and know how devastating a third car can mean to a family struggling month to month. Another day I may have done it. I am glad I didn't. Boss said I must use my vacation before month end, but also no one can take time off, so I read the policy by user Pyroforge. Company sends a shiny HR email, subject line all caps, use it or lose it. We had to burn our remaining PTO by the 30th or it evaporates into the sun. Same day, my manager announces in stand-up that due to quarter end and no one can take time off until the 1st. I asked how to reconcile that. He shrugs and says talk to HR. HR says talk to your manager. Cute loop. So I opened the handbook because I am a petty librarian when annoyed. Page 14 has this little sentence I never noticed. PTO requests not explicitly denied in writing within 48 business hours are considered approved. There is also a note that partial day PTO is allowed in 1-hour blocks. Thank you, legal team. I submitted 10 separate requests. 2 hours every morning next week, 2 hours every afternoon the week after, a random Friday 3 to 5 to watch a plumber, and 1 full day to visit my mom. I sent the requests in our HR portal, which auto-emails the manager and CCs a shared mailbox nobody watches. Then I went back to my tasks and set reminders. 48 business hours pass. No denial. The portal changes each request to approved, green checkmark, confetti gif. Monday comes in at 9:58. I put a cheerful note in the team chat. Heading out, see you at noon. Manager pings me to hop on a client call. I reply with a screenshot of the policy and the portal approval. Silence. Then 3 dots typing, then nothing. By Wednesday our calendar looked like cheese. Half the team remembered they also had PTO sitting around and started filing it in little blocks. Meetings kept colliding with green bars. Finance realized that if we did not use the days now, they would be paid out at separation later, which they hate. HR wrote a new post saying we should coordinate, but that approvals already granted stand. My manager called a huddle to ask why productivity dipped. I said we are following HR's instruction to use PTO. He said he meant in November. I sent him the original email timestamped this month. He sighed and said he never thought anyone would actually read the handbook. I used every hour, took my mum to lunch, and my plumber fixed the car sink at 3.40 while I drank tea. Next week a new policy appeared. PTO must be requested in full day increments during quarter end, and managers must respond in 24 hours. Thanks for clarifying, truly. You accuse us of time theft and being unproductive. Then look forward to an inbox full of unnecessary reports. I work in premium customer service at a bank, where we serve the bank's high-value customers. This usually gave us more freedom because, unlike in traditional customer service, the focus is more on quality than quantity. However, since regular customer service team leaders took over the project, our freedoms have become more restricted. We were accused of time theft because we didn't look out for 2 minutes to go to the bathroom. All of a sudden, we had to report whenever we are not productive. Many of us were threatened with warnings that could lead to us losing our jobs, and even if we just needed to talk to other colleagues about a customer case, we had to let them know. Otherwise, we could be accused of unproductive behavior. And well, we complied. A little too ambitious. Every time we went to the bathroom, we reported it to our project managers by email. Every time we went to get a drink, we reported it. Every time we took a break, we reported it. Every time we talked to a colleague about a customer case, each of the 2 colleagues reported it separately to the project managers by email. Every time we left our computers, no matter what for, we reported it by email to the project manager's mailbox. After a while, the project manager's mailbox was so full that even important emails were overlooked because there were too many of them. The project managers were completely overwhelmed. And shortly afterwards, the rules were abolished again. Use slow computer for demanding project by user working patience 261. I got voluntold for the job of switching a paper-based corporate learning to computer-based, including web-based training. I did not have a desk or a computer, so I brought in my personal laptop. The boss objected and stated I needed to write a business case for a computer. A week later, I got the absolute minimum system that met the minimum requirements on the box. I started the painful process of converting a PowerPoint into an Adobe Captivate file. When it came time to compile the first file, the computer stated it would be 3 hours before it finished, maybe, so I headed to the break room. The executive director for the project happened to walk in and asked me what I was doing there. I am staying not frustrated while waiting for the first draft to compile. Should be about another 2 hours, sir. It was 5 hours. When I showed up the next day, my computer had been upgraded to the then top model with dual monitors. The next day, my fancy unit was on the boss desk and I had his even older, slower computer. This time compiling was over 10 hours. Back to the break room. Same executive walks in, I just smile, nod, and go back to my lunch. The next day, I had 2 computers on my desk, still compiling boss unit and my previously issued fancy one. The boss was cleaning out his desk, having been sent back to frontline, non-boss work. It felt so good to give the company the boot once the project completed.